Illusion shattered.
I'll settle this.
Torn to oblivion.
考えてみせて。ゴミくず。Here among the sea of butterflies, illusions of the past.
Let's end this now.
Torn to oblivion.
Hey! You in there, man? Hello! Are you in there?
What is it?
Oh, good, you are alive.
Who the hell are you?
Embodiment of social human relationships. Calling upon thy name to return thee to the light.
What?
It's your classmate. Who else, you dumb donkey? You have been missing for a while now. People have been searching for you.
What?
But why? I was just here playing games for a few hours. It hasn't been that long. Dude, you have been missing for 9 months.
What?
Oh yeah, that. No worries though, I got all the stuff you missed for the whole year right here. It was fun seeing you, dude. See you at finals. I love playing video games, something that my father doesn't approve of, but that's besides the point. In all my time of putting in hundreds of hours playing countless games, I at some point realized that there can only be two reasons why developers create them. One, passion. Second, business.
No shit.
And then there are gacha games that are kinda in between those two. Games nowadays are either made to make money off their players with minimum amount of work and monetization of features that once were called part of the game at base price with no extra payment. I'm looking at you two little bastards. Or they are a passion project that offer very unique experiences, storylines and characters you get attached to throughout playing the game. These types of games are usually premium priced single-player experiences that you buy once and play for dozens of hours afterwards, completely offline with no extra charge. Gacha games are this weird medium where it's clearly devised to suck off money and make big financial income from players. And yet they also sometimes, when they are not too horny, offer in turn great storylines with great characters that you get attached to. In reality though, this is another marketing scheme to get players attached to the plotline and characters and use that attachment as that fun faithful push they need to spend money on their gacha system and forever throw them down into the never-ending rabbit hole of addiction. In other words, they somehow manage to monetize the passion that is put behind story and attachment players feel for the characters, which is kinda impressive if nothing else from the business standpoint alone. Now that is not to say that every gacha game out there dishes out decent storyline, because no, that would be wrong. If anything, most of these types of games depend heavily on creating sexually appealing female characters that instantly hook on basement-dwelling teenagers, who are the primary target audience. These kids are more prone to get emotionally connected to these beautiful-looking characters, and therefore are more willing to swipe in some good old cash to get their waifus. Long story short, the developers of gacha games create incredibly alluring hook that weaponizes anime aesthetics, primarily in form of attractive female anime characters to get the anime lovers, aka weebs, hooked on their game and suck them dry through their gacha system afterwards once they start pulling for the character they like. That said, everything has its good and nasty side, and so I went on the long journey of searching for a decent game amongst this rubbish pool of boobs and ass shots. And funny enough, I actually found a few really good games in this genre. It's pretty funny to me to see myself talking about gacha games when almost a year ago I had no idea about what type of games they were. I only knew that they were live service titles where you had to use their monetized pulling system to get the characters you liked. So I never really touched them for that reason alone, because my overall experience with the live service titles was really bad, since you pretty much couldn't enjoy even half of the game without paying money in some form of fashion when playing these games. And me being from a third world country where putting food on the table is a complete real life game achievement in of itself, that was a big no-no. It happened in August of last year. It was hot, and I mean really fucking hot. So here I am, just melting away under the heat and utter sense of dullness. Until two friends of mine started playing Genshin Impact and offered me to join them.
Hey, wanna play something cool?
Sure, what is it?
It's called Genshin Impact. It's pretty cool. Come play. Come. It's fun.
Join us.
We had no time to say goodbye, so let's not call it that.
Genshin Impact was a big surprise to me from a free-to-play game standpoint. It offers you a vast open world with countless enemy types, quests, 5 main regions you can explore without limit, very fluid and satisfying gameplay mechanics, as well as variety of enjoyable characters with interesting storylines. This is all for free with no payable walls that lock away regions or some quests or anything like that. It was a really well crafted and optimized experience that I really enjoyed, much to my surprise. What really solidified my liking for the game was a moment when I found out that you really didn't need to necessarily spend real money to get the limited banner characters. If you're patient enough, just by doing story quests, challenges and monthly events, you can get decent amount of prime currency from patch to patch to wish on these limited banners and get the characters you like. For some people who have stable jobs and income and can afford to buy things on these games with their own money, might be a bit annoyed when a guy like me just plays a free game and still wants to get stuff for free. But you gotta realize that for a guy like me who can't afford to buy a lot of stuff, being able to get limited characters in a game like this just by enjoying it means a lot from emotional and entertainment standpoint. A business model like this that rewards players who enjoy their game keeps players like me coming back with the hope that if we do enough tasks with rewards, we can eventually get premium items and characters that other players pay to get. This creates psychological connection to the game that amplified daily and eventually slips in idea to these free players that it would be worthwhile to spend some money on a game like Genshin for being so enjoyable and generous with its rewarding system for the sake of long-term enjoyment. And with a mindset like that, the money they will eventually use in a game will no longer become a waste to them, but instead an investment for their fun times. Henceforth, they become new cows that can be milked, with an off chance that some of them eventually even go as far as becoming whales and spend a shit ton of money on the game. This is how in this case Genshin creates attachment with players and has become one of the top grossing live service games because of that makes its company, MiHoYo, I hope I pronounced that right, a shit ton of money that rivals and even surpasses income of many AAA gaming companies. In hindsight, is this business model a little manipulative? Well, probably. But it's not like they are hiding it, it's there for you to see and people don't really give a shit about it, and damn does it work wonders. So anyway, I got really addicted to the game to the point that I was doing daily side quests, farming artifacts, doing events, farming mobs for materials, doing dailies again, exploring regions, leveling my characters, watching countless beta related videos to get idea about which characters to use, and help me clear abyss on weekly basis to get criminally underwhelming rewards that have no right giving me headache and mental crisis the way it does. Around that time I had a rough idea of what the gacha games were now, but I wasn't really interested in trying another one because I thought playing Genshin alone would be more than enough to keep me satisfied. So I never really entertained any thought of trying other gacha when Genshin had so many quests and challenges for me to explore and to do, until I ran out of them. In my opinion, gacha games share one big single flaw. And before you start typing in comments, yes, I know 5 dozen other problems that are wrong with these games, to the point that I can make a complete separate video on them. But no, I'm talking about one single flaw that every, and I mean every gacha shares, which is their gacha live service system of monthly content updates. You see, when you buy premium priced game, even a shitty one, it still has a content you can consume from beginning to the end alongside its multiplayer features, not including extra DLC. Gacha games on the other hand cannot be consumed at once, because entire game evolves as time progresses, meaning the story chapters, new characters, bosses or challenges that can entertain the player gets added to the game on monthly basis, and sometimes because of that it might take years before the game concludes its storyline and plot points. Henceforth, you are fundamentally limited about what you can do in a game from month to month. That experience is even more miserable if you were there at the launch of the game, did everything the game had to offer in 3 days, and now you are forced to sit there and wait for months for developers to add new content to the game that traditionally was supposed to be there from the beginning. Lucky for me, I started playing Genshin 2 years after its initial release, and by the time I got to the game, it already had 3 whole regional updates out, tons of quests to do, and tons of challenges to complete. So for the next 3 months I was having blast doing dozens of side quests, hoarding in-game premium credits to get limited characters, and have absolute fun. Eventually I reached a dead end when I finished everything the game had to offer, and now I was forced to stop enjoying the game and had to wait another month to see new content and continuation of some of the quests I was doing. To players like me who aren't used to this monthly update live service gacha system, it feels incredibly miserable to be forced to stop enjoying the game like this. Another problem that these games also have is a limited amount of materials you can farm from day-to-day basis. Gacha games are inherently mobile games, and as such almost all of them have energy currency that is limited to certain amount player is allowed to use daily. Because of that, we cannot farm upgradable materials we need indefinitely and are forced to be restrained in that aspect of gaming as well. At first, I didn't really realize this, but I actually felt incredibly disrespected as a player to be given the game and being restrained with a leash from fully enjoying it. It's like your mother just baked an absolutely amazing and delicious pizza and placed it on a table for anyone to see and smell, and you are not allowed to take a bite from it until evening unless you wanna get beaten with the belt. Like, there are no guests or family members coming, it's right there, I wanna eat it now, why the heck do I have to wait till evening? Why do they do that, you might ask? Well, my dear friends, the reason why that is the case is quite simple. They know once you start liking the game, you will want to consume everything it has to offer. They limit what you can do via this limited energy to limit your daily activity so that you can come back tomorrow and continue what you couldn't farm or finish today. This forcefully creates an active player base that keeps game interaction with player alive via limited farming and premium currency based small daily quest system. Such daily interaction with the game at one point mentally creates attachment to it from player's perspective, and this is where addiction starts to show. It's like developing Stockholm syndrome really. In the end, it all goes back to the point I made earlier in the video. All this is a clever trick to get player chained to the game both financially and emotionally, which from the looks of it works perfectly. It is a very smart business move, and really fucking annoying, nasty and psychologically manipulative, but still smart. So, after all of this, you might ask the question, why? Why do you still play these games even after knowing all of this? Why do you keep giving them attention they seek, the money they need? Well, my friends, to answer that question first, let me take you on a small little journey. Punishing Grey Raven tells the story of humanity that has fallen from its grace. Once proud and advanced race is now on the brink of extinction from unknown virus that has ravaged the whole world and turned the man-made machines against their very creators. It tells the dark tale of sacrifice, despair and pain of loss, and yet unyielding hope that humanity will one day take back the world that once belonged to them. Every character you meet in this game is a well-written, emotionally driven individual that has their own personal struggles that make them feel real. Each emotional storyline that I experienced in this game was genuine treat and sometimes eye-opening experience. Humans in this dark post-apocalyptic timeline are like cornered animals that are willing to bite each other's throats off for the sake of survival. The story doesn't shy away from showing dark themes such as morally ambiguous scenes and situations that will tug your heartstrings. The hopeless, suicidal thoughts of malnourished children who were cruelly brought and abandoned in this world to feed on scraps by themselves. It doesn't shy away from touching all of these subjects, and yet despite the dark tone of the story, Banshee Grave Raven also shows you the glimmer of hope of survivor in this nightmare. It is a hope for which humanity desperately fights despite their countless losses and struggles, and you cannot help but cheer them on for it. Sadly, such beautiful and tragic stories hidden away as a gacha game. Banshee Grave Raven is a perfect example of gacha game that offers you an amazing roster of characters with incredible storyline, through very entertaining and action-packed gameplay that was created with love and passion. The same can be said for Honkai Impact or Arknights, which, while I personally didn't play, I hear that they have their own fair share of emotional moments. Games like this are the reason why I play gacha games and occasionally look for new ones. While gacha live service system sucks ass and might become addiction problem for some, I think as long as we regulate how we consume them and be careful with how much we interact with them financially, it will be fine. One of the best ways I learned to treat these games is to think of them as series or show instead of game that adds new episodes every month instead of next week. That way, the eventual dead end you will reach once you consume each month's updates worth of content will be a little bit more bearable. So yeah, I think you can see how much story and characters matter to many people like me to get addicted to these games. That, or you might be one of these guys that play these games for big boobs and booties. Whatever the case is, this is my personal view about why gacha games are becoming more and more popular these days despite the stupid gacha live service system. It's either they have good story or hot anime girls. Sometimes it can be both. Thank you guys for watching, don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace! Also, please go play Banshee Grave Raven. As I said, it is an amazing game and it deserves all the love and attention it can get. So go play it!